We joined this weathering job in progress to bring you a brief overview of decals on model trains. I'm working with an HO scale freight car here, but the same principles apply to most other scales. Water slide decals are wonderful things. They can also be finicky little I'm going to go over the process I use for applying decals. I start by cutting out the decals I will be using with an X-Acto knife. A quick word on exactly what a decal is. A water slide decal is a graphic printed onto special paper which has a thin transparent layer to it. The graphic can be cut from the paper and dunked in water to separate the transparency from the paper. The transparency with the graphic on it can then be slid into place and secured. Decals are not stickers and have to be bound to the surface they're applied to. There are a couple ways of fixing a decal to a model. The method I've had the most success with so far is using Microset. This is a decal setting solution, and by the smell of it, it's not far off from citric acid. I start by taking a small brush and brushing some Microset onto the model in the spot I intend to place the decal. It usually puddles up, but I will use this to my advantage. Once the Microset is ready, I hold the cutout decal with a pair of tweezers and dunk the thing in warm water for about 15 to 20 seconds. After that, I hold the decal between my thumbs and fingers and try to slide the transparency a little. Once the transparency is sliding, I slide the decal slightly away from one side of the paper and grab the exposed paper with the tweezers. I place the exposed edge of the transparency on the model and hold it down with a dental pick. I then pull the paper sideways out from under the transparency. I was a little high off the model for this decal. Ideally, you want to slide the paper out from under the decal so it floats on the Microset. With the decal floating on the bubble of Microset, I use the dental pick to put the decal in the right position. I then take a Q-tip, lay it sideways on the model, press the decal down to the surface of the model, and roll the Q-tip while applying light pressure to push the Microset out from under the decal. Don't try to get it all in one go, as the decal may shift while you're doing this. If the decal does shift, it can be nudged back into position with the pick so long as there's a little Microset still under it. If the decal doesn't want to move, it can often be freed with the brushing of a little more Microset. Once you're sure the decal is in the right place, roll the Q-tip over it again and again, as many times as it takes to push the Microset out from under the decal and leave the decal flat on the model and its features. Once the decal is in place, let it sit for a while and dry. I like to give it at least a half hour or so. Once it's dry, I spray on a clear coat of some kind, either dull coat or gloss coat. This seals the decal in and helps ensure it won't fall off. Once the clear coat is on and dry, the work is done. A few things to note. You can use plain water instead of Microset, but it's a little more tricky, and often the only thing holding the decal on when all is said and done will be the clear coat. I've used this method and it does work, but if you can use the Microset, I recommend it. Also, some modelers will suggest using a product called Microsol to permanently set a decal onto a model. I've tried this, but some decals don't react well to Microsol, so my advice is to use caution with that method. It does work sometimes, but other times it seems to cause the decals to curl up. Furthermore, you want the surface you're applying the decal to be as smooth as possible. Many modelers suggest spraying a model with gloss coat before applying a decal. I did that here, and the results seem fairly decent. Finally, be thorough in removing any air pockets from under the decal, as not only can this cause the appearance of a bubble, but under a transparent part of the decal, this can create a gray or silver appearance known as silvering. Like any skill in modeling, applying decals is best learned by actually doing it. I hope these tips have been as handy to you as they were to me. I'd like to tip my hat to Jake Abel and to a number of fellow YouTubers whose tutorage, personal or otherwise, got me started down the path of decaling models. I hope this video might play a part in starting other modelers, or perhaps even you, down the same path.